This video is sponsored by Guitar Fetish. Hi there, Perfecto the Castro here and welcome to my channel. I hope you're having a great day. I just finished building this hot pink Super Strat with a sneaky secret. So in this video, I'm going to show off all its tones and give you insight into the whole build process. Here we go. When Guitar Fetish first approached me with this video idea, I must admit that I was a little bit apprehensive. I have built guitar kits in the past, but they are pretty much just disassembled electric guitars that you put back together like a puzzle. And the XGP line of premium guitar parts from Guitar Fetish is a little more involved than that and requires a bit more work so that you get to put together a very nice instrument. And that makes it the next step up from building guitar kits, because aside from assembly, you also need to work on and develop actual guitar building skills. However, browsing through the guitarfetish.com website, I stumbled upon this hot pink XGP style body and I could not resist. So I put together a parts list inspired by my required specs as a guitar player, as well as a few ideas that I've always wanted to try out. Guitarfetish.com is a very good friend and supporter of my channel, so thank you very much for sponsoring yet another video. The entire parts list of this build, as well as the link to the guitarfetish.com website, are in the video description. So go check it out and have fun putting together your own dream guitar build. Now I'm gonna do things a little differently in this video and let you hear this guitar in action on a tune I wrote as soon as I finished building it. Enjoy. Browsing through guitarfetish.com, you will notice two main lines of guitar parts. the Lido import spec guitar necks and bodies, and the XGP USA spec premium guitar necks and bodies. So aside from building a guitar from scratch, you can also use them as replacement parts for your current project. If you're working on an import guitar like a Squier or something similar, then you choose from the Lido line. And if you're working on a USA made guitar like an American Standard, then you choose from the XGP line. And with XGP being the premium brand, you also get a lot more color options, like the new sparkle finishes that have just been listed on the website at the time of this video. Now that you know the distinction, let's take a closer look at my XGP guitar build, which I have named Perfecto Strato Castro. I know, very original. Okay, my build starts with a hot pink S-style body. I wanted a flashy stage guitar that would go well with my chrome pink strap from Rocket Music Gear. And to make it even flashier, I paired it with a single humbucker mirror pickguard. You can see the reflection of my messy desk in it. For the bridge pickup, I went with the GFS Big Mouth, which I mainly chose for the looks. Those big chrome pole pieces and the chrome casing look sick set against this mirror pickguard. Now during the jam, you may have noticed me fiddling around with the volume knob, and yes, this is a push-push potentiometer, and this activates the sneaky little secret that is hidden underneath the pickguard, but we will get to that shortly. Now moving on from the body, I chose a 22 fret amber tinted maple neck with a maple fretboard. This neck has 22 medium frets and comes with the slippery Teflon nut installed. Now moving on to the tuners, I went with a set of staggered locking tuners, as you can see right there, to help with the break angle after the nut. However, since I am a fairly aggressive player and I use the whammy bar a lot, I also added a roller string tee for strings 1 and 2, just to make sure that everything stays in place. Rounding out the build are these heavy-duty GFS strap locks. Though, like with any other screw-on strap lock, you'll have to put a dab of Loctite on the threads just for an extra added peace of mind. Now let's talk about the sneaky feature of this guitar. I actually have a high output GFS Little Killer pickup installed in the neck pickup cavity underneath the pickguard, and I can switch to that using the push-push pot. Right? So push down, I get the big mouth, and pushing it up, I go to the hidden neck pickup. Now this setup right here was inspired by a couple of ideas that I've always wanted to try out. My go-to pickup configuration is always a bridge humbucker with some sort of stacked single coil in the neck. And for my playing style, I always find myself using either just the bridge pickup or just the neck pickup, rarely both at the same time. So using the push-push pot as a pickup selector makes for a very clean layout on the face of the guitar. And that also means less switches to fumble with while playing live. Now the hidden neck pickup comes from two sources. My good friend Pacoy Flechero of the Philippines, where he has a hidden neck pickup as well, and Brad Paisley's signature Fender Esquire, which has the secret agent pickup underneath the pickguard. Though on those guitars, they have visible pickup selector switches, and I wanted this to be as sneaky as possible. So at first glance, you will see a single pickup guitar. And then the surprise comes when you start hearing sounds that you don't normally hear from this guitar setup right here when I engage the hidden neck pickup. And on top of all of that, there's also the added bonus of less magnetic interference in this part of the guitar. This way, the strings ring and sustain just like on a single pickup hot rod shred axe. And since the neck pickup has a weaker output, I can also do the Jimmy Page virtual channel switching trick. Needless to say, this guitar firmly lives in the dirty channel of whatever I'm running it into. Now, those of you with eagle eyes, you may have already noticed that there is one major guitar part that is not available on guitarfetish.com, and that is this Vegatrem VT1 bridge. I hooked up with Vegatrem at the last NAMM show, and I'm very happy to be working with them. And instead of installing this particular VT1 in one of my existing guitars, I wanted to build a guitar around it, and a premium bridge deserves premium parts. So here we are. Okay, let's talk about my experience building Castro right here. If you're planning your own guitar build using either the Lido or XGP line from Guitar Fetish, know going into it that there is a lot more work involved, especially when compared to just assembling a prefabricated guitar kit. For starters, the neck did not come with any holes pre-drilled at the heel for the neck bolts. The body did not come pre-drilled with any holes for the bridge posts, although it did come pre-drilled at the neck pocket. Now, I didn't want to mess things up by trying to drill the holes by hand, so I went to my good friend Matt's house so I could use his drill press. And since I was working with already painted parts, I had to go slow and steady with any extra drilling and woodwork. That way, we don't mess up this nice finish in the most obvious places. So slow and steady was the name of the game. After attaching the neck to the body, the next step was to locate the bridge placement. So taking the scale length that I'm working with, in this case 25.5 inches, I measured from the nut to where the saddles should be. And it was at this point that I realized I made a small mistake and ended up installing the neck a little too far forward than where it should be. That also meant that I had to move the bridge placement up. And to accommodate that, I had to route the front part of the tremolo cavity, which I did freehand with a Dremel. It was scary and exciting at the same time. Now, after sorting out the bridge placement, we turned our attention to the headstock. This XGP neck is USA spec, so that means the holes are drilled for vintage style tuners, not the modern locking tuners that I am using on this guitar. So back to the drill press, and we widened the holes to accommodate my fancy tuners. After all the sessions with the drill press, here's a clip of me playing the first notes on this guitar. All the hardware installed, all strung up, but without any electronics. It was a cool experience. With all the hardware fitted properly, now I needed to do some work in the pickup cavities. Now, to achieve the sneaky secret neck pickup, I had to route some wood in the neck pickup cavity to accommodate the height of the little killer pickup. That way it doesn't push up against the underside of the pickguard. I also had to freehand that with the Dremel, so I went very, very carefully so as not to mess up the guitar or my fingers. With all the woodworking finally done, I go back home and shield the cavity with some conductive paint. Now comes my least favorite part of guitar building, which is soldering the electronics into the guitar. And after a couple of hours struggling with wiring and soldering, here is a clip of Castro plugged into an amp for the first time. Okay, so this will be the first sounds that this guitar will make. I'm plugged into my Soldano SLO30 right there, and then we'll see if my crazy ideas will work. Oh, no neck pickup. Oh, it's so weak. Maybe back to the drawing board. Okay, hold on. Fail. So back to the drawing board. I realized that the little killer pickup has radius blades. And with the way I have it set up, it meant that the outer strings sound weaker compared to strings 3 and 4. So I wrapped the little killer in masking tape, put it in a vise, and filed the tops of those pickup blades down. That way it has a flatter profile. And again, I had to do this carefully so that I don't get any of the metal filings into the coils of the pickup. Once I was satisfied with the profile, I reinstalled everything and it worked. Well, it's alive. And the neck pickup works. Though it doesn't have as much output as I hoped it would, but I'll find a use for it. I think this is the best output that I could get out of it without resorting to any active buffers. With the electronics sorted, now it's time for the final setup. I didn't need to do anything drastic to the frets. I did some minor leveling on the treble side, 3rd and 4th frets, and I dressed the fret ends to get rid of any sharpies. The nut was already cut perfectly, so I didn't have to do anything to it, which is great. After all the work putting Castro together and setting it up, the final step is to install the headstock decal. I laid this out in Photoshop and printed it on some water slide transfer paper. And this turned out much better than I expected. It actually looks legit. I love it. Now, I'm really happy with how this guitar turned out. In fact, I've already gigged with it. Here are some clips. Well, there you have it. This is Perfecto Castro, my XGP guitar build. Big thanks again to Guitar Fetish for sponsoring this video and for giving me free reign in presenting this guitar build to all you guys. Now, if you want to build your own Castro, the complete parts list as well as the link to the guitarfetish.com website are in the video description. So go check it out and have fun. I really had a lot of fun putting this guitar together, so there may be another XGP build for me again in the future. Perhaps involving one of those sparkle finished bodies and a reversed headstock neck. Now that's gonna be right in my wheelhouse. If you dug this video, please give it a thumbs up, like, hit subscribe if you haven't yet, and don't forget to ring that bell. And let me know what you think of Perfecto Castro in the comment section. Or feel free to share what your dream XGP build will be. Click on an end card to go watch another video, or you can go grab your guitar and play something. You all know the drill. Practice makes perfecto. Cheers, guys.